Everyone, thank you for watching once again. This is Bruce Muffson, Sunridge of Nevada, with another video coming your way. Want to thank us before we get started. We're getting more and more comments. The videos are coming out. The subscription rates are going up. We appreciate it. We cannot do this without you guys. We love your comments. We love your thoughts. And by the way, we're going to be inviting some of our listeners, more when I say listeners, our commenters, to actually meet with us directly. We want to ask you why you enjoy our videos, what you like about them, what you want to see more of. But we're going to continue to make more videos, more content, and we have new ideas coming up all the time. So thank you, thank you, thank you. All right, here we go. Okay, there was a topic that came out a few months ago that was very, very popular, and it was called Blue Whale. And the media picked up on this, and it was a huge story in February of 2017, right after the new year started. And you can see behind me Blue Whale, and it was about suicides in Russia, and over 130 kids had killed themselves. It was crazy, wild. So, Western media picked up the story, huge story, all these young kids killing themselves, jumping off high rises, working off of dares, eerily reminiscent of the movie Nerve, which we had reviewed actually last year. What happened? Credible sources went ahead and wanted to see was there any truth to this story that group called Blue Whale, and I'll get to why it's called Blue Whale in a second, was responsible for over 100 deaths in Russia over the last year or so. Here's what they found out. The answer, thank God, is no, not true. While there were these suicides that did take place, that's not an argument, and that's everyone's in agreement about that. These generally were kids that tended to be suicidal and depressed to begin with, and they joined groups by being unfortunately manipulated. We'll get to that later as well. And then by following people who really were manipulating them emotionally and mentally, would commit acts of suicide by jumping off of buildings and killing themselves, unfortunately. So here we go. First of all, what does Blue Whale mean? Blue Whale came up with a term. You gotta have a catchy phrase to get people interested. Was a blue whale represented blue whales that will often, not often, but will sometimes beach themselves on a shoreline, and they die because they have beached themselves. So the term blue whale came popular. So what happened also, one of the ways that the media picked up on it was you would see, and I have a picture of this, was you would have a person drawing an outline of a blue whale by cutting themselves on their arm. So very trendy. Blue whale, cutting, shape of a blue whale. Oh, sorry, the tail was shaking. And that's what would happen. So that's where the term came from. Now, there was a magazine in Russia. This all came out of Russia, again, and it's called Novaya Gazeta, basically a Russian publication. And they had one of the ones that first came out with this and said, oh, lots of suicides, and it's all linked to this, cult to manipulate teenagers, and it's the blue whale, the blue whale, the blue whale. Okay, now, what was it? How would they do this? It goes like this. You would sign up, the player would sign up to play the game and follow instructions over the course of 50 days. An administrator, sorry, get my fingers in there, administrator, got to have something, again, catchy, something like an overlord, a powerful person, assigns a series of tasks. Anything from cutting yourself to listening to a song that the player must accomplish. And how do you win the game? The final task is to commit suicide on the 50th day. And what happened was Novaya Gazeta reported that there was dozens of suicides of children. Now, here's what happened. They were all part of the same online community called VK.com, a social media network based out of St. Petersburg, Russia. Now, again, going back to the movie Nerve, we all remember that movie where it was you had to do increasingly dangerous tasks to get points, to get followers, and to get money. It wasn't the case here. It was just more like following something that because you felt bad about yourself to join. So Novaya Gazeta claimed that over 130 kids had killed themselves. Radio Free Europe went ahead and found out that no suicides were definitively linked. Okay, so while there were dozens of suicides and attempted suicides in Russia, Kazakhstan, and Kyrgyzstan, they've been linked to the game. On closer inspection, none of them have been found to have a conclusive tie. Now, here's another thing. So Novaya Gazeta did some more work because they got ripped by saying this is really inappropriate. So, and another website, Meduza, Meduza, said that Novaya Gazeta arrived at the conclusion that a social media game was causing the teens to commit suicide because several teenagers from the same social media group had taken their own lives. However, Medusa argued, which I think is correct, that it's more reasonable to assume that depressed or suicidal teenagers are simply drawn for the same social media to the same social media groups, and not that the groups are causing them to commit suicide, but if you were depressed or suicidal, you were more likely to join a group that made you feel comfortable. Now, why were people doing this? Why were they creating these websites to get kids to get involved? And they said that a teen becomes part of a group due to the fact that it contains people who struggle with suicidal thoughts. Like goes after like. I'm suicidal. I'm going to follow somebody that's suicidal as well. Now, the reasons why teenagers commit suicide are well documented. In Russia, going back to Russia now, 62% of all suicides among adolescents are associated with family conflicts and distress, problems with teachers, sorry, that's my phone, classmates, friends, and also with the fear of violence by adults and being callousness of other kids around them. And in Russia, which went through a very, very sharp economic decline between 1987 and 1994, suicides among kids, boom. When things sort of stabilized after 1994, the number of suicides have gone down. Now, the groups do exist. The blue whale groups do exist. What happened? They had to take a teenager. You got to have an antecedent, something that's going to start it going. They had a girl named Rina Palenikova, whose name has been misspelled several times in the different articles that I pulled down. But again, it's trendy. It's interesting, and that she purportedly took her own life after posting a photograph of herself on VK.com. You start to see the connection here. The image was widely circulated on social media, and Rena soon became the central figure of a strange cult-like group. Here is Rena. Well, you don't really see Rena because Rena is behind a scarf. You just see her eyes. She's clearly a teenage girl. She's dressed like a teenage girl. She looks like she got her earbuds on, Russian version of them. I guess Dr. Joy is involved in Russia. There you are, and she is by. Look where she's standing by. Train tracks. If you're going to commit suicide, very popular place. Do it by a train. And there was a rumor that she was part of a suicide pact. So Rena, and now here they have it Palenikova, Kovoy, and they started publishing weird content, psychedelic ramblings, sinister videos, Hebrew inscriptions of all things, numbers, codes, pictures, and video with a strange logo. What was the logo from? A lingerie company. So there you go for being like really, really wild and really, really dangerous. But for teenagers that are feeling bad about themselves and feeling depressed, it makes total sense. It's mysterious, it's different, it can draw me in, I can feel comfortable. So then another group came on board called ARG, a game with augmented reality. And they had new tasks, and it had no idea, initially no relation to suicide, but the whole idea was they had a timer counting down 70 days to a prior date until the date of the mass suicides. So why did they actually create all these groups? The creator of the Sea of Whales community said he had no interest in encouraging people to take their own lives. Rather, the group's creator said that they created the game and the surrounding lore to drive traffic to the page. Here's another thing. However, this spread like wildfire, and a news website, Lenta, Lenta.ru, got in touch with More Kitov, Morekitov. He said, we were not interested in grooming minors to take their own lives, young kids. We're really interested in boosting their commercial profile. Because why? He said that Philip, Philip List, the creator of the now deleted community F57, wanted to increase the number of subscribers to attract advertising to his page. Because in Russia, the social network VKontakte, VONKONTAKTE, is also a popular advertising market, and you can earn a lot of money from popular communities. Once again, Facebook, YouTube, likes, dislikes, the more followers, the more subscribers, the more advertisers rush to go there. So he saw this. List said he saw the myth of the sect and used Rina Palanikova, reportedly committed suicide, to promote it. Sold her pages, reposts, videos, and photos of her grave. And he said, I looked at all the fuss and got stunned by the hype and created my whales. He said his aim was to dissuade teenagers prone to suicidal thoughts, but first he had to become one of them. So the whole thing never really existed, but it just shows you how easy it is to manipulate people. Now, then you have a site called mydeathspace.com, and they're the ones they picked up on the story also. It's exciting. Blue Whale, Cutting, Death Club, Suicidal Club, Get into the Cult. You join the game in social network Vikondake. See, they're all getting, it's how it perpetuates itself. VKONTAKTE. And in this case, the blue whale was seen as a possible cause of death. Why? Because there have been several suicides of young girls. Young girl Yulia, I'm not going to get into her last name, I can't even pronounce it, 15. Veronica, 16. A girl, first name that I can't even pronounce, 15. She jumped off a building. 2 days earlier, a 14-year-old girl, done it again. What did the friends write online? Senses lost, end. Take a picture with, one took a picture with a blue whale. And you got the sense of that these kids are just unhappy. Russians have one of the highest suicide rates in the world. They do. A lot of despair, a lot of drug and alcohol abuse, a lot of suicide linked to drug and alcohol abuse. Now, they said in 2014 they had roughly 25,000 suicides in Russia. I don't believe that number is even accurate. I think it's probably 3 times as much. Like in America, like in the rest of the world, suicides are often unreported for a variety of reasons. Shame to the family, stigma, religious concerns, ethnic issues. You want to be seen as like a loser, you killed yourself. So a lot of true suicides are not classified as such. 25,000 for Russia is way, 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 way low. This guy, Philip Budikin, 21 years old. So he's older, not bad looking. For a young girl, that's kind of exciting. 14, 15, 16. This guy's appealing to me. Now, he was arrested. He's on trial right now. And the claim is that he actually had dozens of people commit suicide through his influence. And in a disturbing interview with St. Petersburg.ru media outlet, Budikin admitting that the real number was 17 to commit suicide, not 15 like they initially said, and said the victims died happy. I gave them that which they did not have in their real life: warmth, understanding, connection. By the way, UNICEF reported that Russians have the third highest teen suicide rate in the world, more than 3 times the global average. 3 times. Now, we're going to close with this. I want to say a couple of things. If you're suicidal, and we take this stuff seriously because we deal with this every day, if you're suicidal, here are the things you need to be aware of. Because 80% of the time, people who kill themselves will give definite signs that they're feeling suicidal. The key to prevention, we talk about this all the time, prevention, prevention, prevention. Previous suicide attempt, current talk of suicide or making a plan, strong wish to die or a preoccupation with death, giving away prized possessions, signs of depression such as moodiness, hopelessness, and withdrawal, increased alcohol or drug usage, and hinting at not being around for the future and saying goodbye. What is the point of this video today? The point is this: I get it. I was once a teenager myself about 100 years ago. I know what it's like to feel like you don't fit in. What did Budikin tell the girls? What's a girl's biggest fear as a teenager? You're fat. What would he tell the boys? You're a loser. See, capital L. And that preys on their insecurity. Here he is, older, taller than them. They look up to him. He's like, he knows everything because he's 21. He's like a saint. He's like a grandfather type. And you realize how we get sucked into this because we don't have the confidence to, like ourselves and talk to those around us. It's a huge mistake. We're vulnerable. And people don't realize the internet is filled with, forget about thousands, hundreds of thousands, millions of sites that are there to try to mold your head. the advertising, the shows that you watch, the product placement, it's not done randomly. It's done for a reason. And you have to be sophisticated enough to try and say to yourself, what are they really trying to get out of me? Why are they pushing this deodorant or this soap or this taco? Well, there's a reason for it. But they're also trying to manipulate you if they sense that you're lonely, unhappy, depressed, sad. Come in. We have the answers. Come to the light. Come to the light. And if you're suicidal and depressed, you don't like yourself, you're perfect prey. When you see videos, when you see sites filled with choo-choo trains, that's a dead giveaway with suicide. I'll end my life in an instant. I'll just drive in front of a moving train, locomotive. So you see, signs of kids on, teenagers like with, typing, texting. Life sucks. I hate myself. I can't get up another day. I'm so depressed. Teenagers go through that. That's normal. It's a normal hormonal thing to go through depression, but not to the point of killing yourself and feeling so lonely. And here's how one guy who wasn't that sophisticated made it happen. You got to start to understand that. And 13 to 17 is a rough age. You're just learning about your body. You're turning into a young man, a young woman. Who am I? Am I pretty? Am I handsome? Am I good at sports? Am I good at football? Am I good at math? Am I good at talking? Am I good at communication? All these things start to become a factor. That mirror becomes your whole life. And what's happened for teens today is your phone has become your whole life. And how you define yourself on that phone and how you define yourself on that video keyboard is your true personality. Listen, we're not stupid. We're not going to try and change. We're not going to get rid of tomorrow Facebook, YouTube, Snapchat, now worth $24 billion. We're not stupid. It's not going to happen. And every day there's a new website going on, a new way to communicate that's even trendier or hipper or hotter, whatever that's going to be. All we're saying is if you feel confused and you feel unsure of yourself, that's a normal way to feel, find someone you can relate to. Hopefully it's your parents, but if it's not your parents, is it someone at church, someone at school, a coach, an older friend, someone else looking out for your best interest that cares about you and doesn't want to see you go to this tragic end of feeling the only way out is jumping off a high rise. That's no future. That's not for anyone's life to happen. The devastation and the horror you leave behind is like a ripple in a pond. It goes on forever. Be safe. Look out for yourself. We want you to be successful. I'm still going to think with my fingers. But we want the best for you. God bless. We'll continue to knock out more videos. Stay tuned. Have a great one. Bye.